Good evening, everyone. Happy hump day. I wanted to pop in the group, say hello, see how everyone's doing today, and share with you a recipe that we're having tonight for dinner. Since today is all about what we're eating today, and we're sharing and kind of showing what we have on the menu and what a typical day of eating looks like for all of us. So my meal plan is still in effect. It's still in the group, so if you want to look at it, just use the search box, and if you type in meal plan, it should pop up. But I think it's from Monday, so if you just even scroll through to day one, you'll probably see that meal plan on there. If you are looking at it, or if you're familiar with it, I'm sure all of you are memorizing my meal plan, right? Just kidding. We are having salmon and roasted asparagus tonight for dinner. So as you can tell, I'm still in my work clothes. Typically Wednesdays, Sophie has tap dance, and how Mark and I have been working it out is he'll take her to tap dance and I kind of stay behind and get our lunches packed for tomorrow, get dinner together, do the dishes, and just kind of do like the general stuff around the house. So we really divide and conquer up our tasks. So that's what I just did here. Now, Wednesdays is a night where I know I have a little bit more time to prepare dinner, so I don't have to have everything like 100% prepped and just throw it in the oven like we did last night on taco night, because we get home so much later on Tuesdays. So tonight, basically, and this only took me 10 minutes, so I got salmon from the grocery store. You can buy frozen salmon fillet. Sometimes those are a little bit easier, and then you can just pull them out as you go. But I knew specifically that we wanted to have salmon tonight for dinner, so I bought it fresh, planned to have it tonight, popped it open, and what I did was I just put it into, I sprayed this pan, got the oven preheating, and it's 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. So you can use olive oil, you can use coconut oil, it's whatever you want. It's not, the coconut oil isn't gonna give it any kind of tropical flavor. It's just kind of something that we really like to use here, and I love the smell of it. So I just smeared it on there, gave it a little coconut oil rub, I guess. And then I used fresh garlic. It's kind of to your taste. We really like garlic, so I used a couple cloves, and some of them were really small. As a little time-saving tip, if you don't want to deal with fresh garlic, if you don't have fresh garlic, you can use garlic powder, or what I like to have in the fridge for quick nights if I don't seriously feel like peeling and dealing with garlic is they sell jars of fresh garlic, and you just teaspoon that out. I actually went for it in the fridge and didn't have any, so I was like, darn. So I did use fresh garlic, and it's going to be even better. So on with the garlic, you kind of rub that on there too. Lemon juice. Fresh lemon juice is fantastic, but again, maybe you don't have fresh lemons on hand. Maybe you don't want to cut them and deal with extra dishes. Here's your time saver tip. Everyone should have one of these in your fridge or pantry. It's lemon juice. So, and they last forever. This is always great for fish. This is great for chicken. If you need like something in your water, always have one of these on hand. They last for a really long time. We'd use a ton of fresh lemons, but on a night like tonight, I was like, hey, just gonna save some time. Squeeze this out. Squeeze that on top of your fish next to. After you do the lemon juice, what I did was fresh parsley. Again, you don't have to have fresh. I just happened to have parsley on hand from another recipe that I was using. And as you know, you buy it in this huge, ginormous bunch. And then you're like, what the heck am I going to do with all of this parsley? So it's always nice to have something else to do with your herbs, because then it just doesn't feel like a waste when it goes bad. You have to chuck it. So after that, just a little bit of sea salt or salt, whatever, and then I'll just cook this in the oven. So this just needs fired in the oven. I have it at 400. It might take like 15-20 minutes. It's really up to you. You kind of have to watch it, and it depends on the thickness of the salmon. So it's super easy, and this took like 5 minutes to like really do all of this together, and Mark and I are gonna have this. Sophie will eat this, however, she doesn't necessarily like it that much, and I don't force it on her. She's tried it, she will eat it. If I really wanted her to, she would, but she is gonna get this leftover turkey breast that we did in the crock pot the other night, because she really liked that. So that's another way that if your kids don't want to eat this and you don't feel like fighting with them, you can still do something else for them. If you want to have the salmon, just portion it out so that you are getting what you need, and your husband or whoever you're cooking for, you guys have that ready to go. So let me fire this in the oven real quick. feel like they're gonna be home sooner rather than later. So now we have roasted asparagus, but it doesn't have to be roasted asparagus if you don't like roasted asparagus, but let's talk about this. So storage tip for your asparagus. What you wanna do, so we bought this on Sunday, you want to store your asparagus up like a flower, like you're putting a flower in a vase. So you get some type of container, any type of Tupperware where they can stand upright, or a pot, or a pitcher even, and you put a little bit of water in it, and then you stick your asparagus in like that. That's how you store asparagus in the fridge, and it doesn't get soggy laying on its side. It doesn't get limp. It's nice and crisp and fresh still from Sunday, and it's ready to go. 1 teaspoon of olive oil. That is it. You do not need a lot of oil. If you want to use coconut oil, by all means, but you'll need to melt it first because you kind of have to rub this all around. So 1 teaspoon of olive oil is what I used here, and sea salt. That's it. That is so it for this recipe. And then you're just going to cook this in the oven for about 20 minutes. You want to pay attention because depending on the thickness of the spear, it might cook a little bit faster and you don't want it to get dried out. So watch it at about 15 minutes and see if it's ready to come out, and then you decide. A serving size of asparagus is 10 large spears. You really have to be the judge. Like, I think you know what a large spear looks like because if you've ever eaten it at a nice restaurant or anywhere, it's like actually, it's pretty thick. Now these ones are thin, so I am doing 2 of these to make up every one. So technically I will have 20 what I will call skinny spears, and that will be a serving, and Sophie will eat this too. So we all kind of share the same vegetable. Any type of roasted vegetable will do along with salmon. And if you need a carb, something like a brown rice would be really good, or quinoa, cauliflower rice. Wait, that's not a carb. So any type of rice or whatever kind of, like a baked potato would be really good. Anything that you're thinking about along those lines. We're gonna go carb free because we've already had some of our carbs, and I know Mark is going to be eating some cookies that my mom sent home yesterday. So I'm sort of just tabling our carb. It's not the best use of a carb. I'm just being honest that they're here, they're homemade, and we're going to eat them. So that's what's going to happen, and therefore I'm sort of shifting what we would have had, which would have been maybe a side serving of rice, and just saying we're going to eat those cookies, so why hurt ourselves later? That's it for dinner. Now, as far as the rest of the week goes, this is your time. Now dinner's gonna be in the oven and you have about 15 to 20 minutes. What are you going to do with it? Get ready for tomorrow. What are you eating? Is your lunch packed? Even if you're a stay-at-home parent, stay-at-home, just work from home parent, you want to be prepared. Not being prepared is what leads us to grazing, to picking all day, to overeating because we are mindless. If you're gonna be home, I still want you to get your food ready. I still want you, even if you put it in a lunch bag, I do that. I stayed home on Monday and I still had my lunch in a lunch bag and I just ate out of the bag. I was very focused. Every time I went into the fridge and I was hungry, I'm like, okay, that's my lunch bag. That's what I would have with me if I was in the office. So that's what I'm supposed to eat today. And I didn't deviate from that. Before I would grab a little bit from here. I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna grab like a Hershey Kiss or 2. I mean, I was doing that all day long and not thinking anything of it. So pack your lunch. If you wanna slice your apple, if you wanna cut up an orange, what I have for tomorrow is a little thing of oatmeal. I packed up more egg frittata because that's been really good this week. I have an apple that I already sliced and I bagged up. I have peanuts measured out. I have almonds measured out, and it's all in my lunch bag. Mark's lunch is also packed tomorrow. He's having a wrap. He's having some fruit. I have juice for him. And he has one more thing. He has clean deviled eggs. Packed. It's in the fridge. He'll take that with him. So that's typically what we would do during this downtime where your stuff is in the refrigerator, or do your dishes, clean your kitchen, create a nice clean environment so you don't feel like overwhelmed. Just declutter. Having a clean environment is part of this process because I think if you feel better, you're more inclined to stick to whatever goals that you have going on because you're not distracted like, oh, I can't pack my lunch because I have to clean the kitchen, or I can't exercise because the kitchen looks like a bomb went off on it, or something like that. So while you have like 15 minutes to be in the kitchen, stay in the kitchen and stay on task. Dishes, countertops, lunches. Just focus on one thing at a time and move on to the next. those are my tips for today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm going to be checking in a little bit to see what everyone has going on. So if you haven't shared something that you've eaten today, do it now so that I can see it, and it will just give us some other ideas for recipes. I think Beth shared a recipe for a Southwest stuffed pepper that sounds pretty amazing. And Christina shared with me earlier today in the group that she gets this like sweet kale salad from Sam's Club. Like, I didn't even know that that was there, and it already has sunflower seeds and craisins in it. That's kind of convenient, right? So that's what this group is all about. So if you haven't shared anything yet today, please do that, or tomorrow when you think about it. I'm gonna get this fired into the oven. The family's gonna be home in about 20 minutes, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. So if you have questions, post them below. See you later.